Well, it's another day in paradise. You're watching Live Up to Freedom. I'm Michael Lauber, filling in today for Annie Cyrus. Don't worry, she's just fine. She just had some personal things to take care of and was kind enough to allow me to sit in for her today. Now, we have a very special guest coming for you here in just a moment. But before we dive into that, there was one announcement she wanted me to make. We Yesterday, I don't know if you follow her Facebook page, I'm sure you saw the posts, but she did find a way that we can directly help a lot of the people in Iran that are struggling to communicate. There'll be a link, a pinned post at the top of her Facebook page that'll direct you how you can help them with VPN access. It's very simple, very straightforward. If there's any questions, though, don't hesitate to leave a comment or send an email, and we'll be sure to respond to that immediately and make sure we get that sorted out, because this is, again, something that's very impactful. Very inexpensive, and something any one of us can do that will help them and help them break through the security state there in Iran. So today we have a very special guest for you. He's actually one of my favorite people to appear with Brandon House. I'm sure you've seen him on Brandon House Live, and then Annie's actually interviewed him as well. He is retired Colonel John Mills, and he just released a brand new book. And John, if you could give our audience a rundown on that and how you doing this morning.
Thanks, Michael. Great to be on with you. And yeah, it's The Nation Will Follow, and it's my action-packed experience. And the nation will follow. That'll sweep out from underneath the legs of the globalists their foundation, because it is the nanny staters right in our county that provide the foundation for the deep staters to stand upon.
You've got that exactly right. You hit on several things there that I think more people need to understand. And I like the idea that the book is an action plan, that it gives people direction and what to do, because I think there's a lot of people that are really hungry for that right now. They're tired of seeing commentators and whoever complain about the problem. You know, it's time to fix it, and people want that direction. You're also exactly right with needing to seize control on the local level. Especially, I think COVID really highlighted this for a lot of people. Is that's how the left and the deep state was able to move so effectively. Is at the end of the day, you know, all politics is local anyway, but having this local control gave them an enforcement mechanism from the top down, and a way to throw a wrench in the works of everything else when you control the election boards and everything else. That allowed for the mail-in voting and a lot of the other opportunities to control the system and then instigate fraud.
Absolutely. This is the foundation upon which the deep state at the national and international level stands. Mm-hmm. The one good thing about COVID, the Wuhan virus, is we learned the craziness of our school board, our public school system. I am not a public school hater. I am for all forms of education. But this government monopoly, we realized a lot of these people are just bat guano crazy. Okay.
Yes.
And every American citizen, you need to pull out your state election law, your state laws, and read them. Because the first thing I always hear from patriot groups around the country is, I need a lawyer. No, you do not need a lawyer. Any good lawyer, and we only have good lawyers on our side of the ledger, right? They will be honest with you and say you will die of old age or go broke if you expect them to do the foundational reading and research. And anybody who is I'm not going to name any names, but there's several people who like to travel around the country as declared election integrity experts, and I've been doing it for 30 years. Well, if you've been doing it for 30 years, why are we in such a mess right now? But a lot of these people, they've never read the laws, and you start asking them pretty basic questions. They don't know what they're doing. Citizens, you must read these laws yourself. If you can read English, you can read these laws. Most of the lawyers are not reading these, but do these things and start, even if you live in a clean county, because some people say, oh, I live in a clean county, I don't need to worry about it. No, even there, ask questions, because even clean, honest county and county equivalent officials, they act differently, just like any human being, when they know they're being monitored, observed, and reasonable questions are being asked. Now, one big, huge caveat. Now, book one is out now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thenationwillfollow.com, and we're about to do a big blitz on additional media. Thank you very much, Michael. But one of the things, book two comes out next September, and on the site you can pre-order the book at a great discount. But there's already, from the time we finalize this, The Nation Will Follow, a number of events have happened that will hit in the second book. One of the things we have in my own, in the book, I urge everybody to be a Loudoun County parent and stand
Yes.
up and stand your ground. Well, we need to adjust that phrase. I want everybody to be a Loudoun and or a Prince William County parent. That's where I live, is Prince William. We now have our first criminal indictment of a former election registrar, somebody I've been battling with for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was only one person perfect in this situation, and she's now under criminal felony indictment from Jason Miara as the Attorney General. And guess what? Much of that information, I mean, you don't convene a grand jury based on just one person's, John Mills said, so therefore we're going to convene a grand jury. No, no, no.
Yeah.
There's a very high legal standard if you have a clean and non-corrupt attorney general for convening a grand jury, and then the grand jury returns 2 felony indictments against the previous registrar, who was just her and I duked it out. And like I said, there was only one person perfect in the situation. She's now under felony indictment. The current one, who I also had grave concerns over,
Mm-hmm.
was the one who provided much of the evidence. He threw her under the bus. Okay,
Good.
but yeah, and that's good, great victory. I'm good with that. But then I started asking reasonable questions of the current ones, and I had several people come out of the woodwork and say, John, why are you doing this again? Why are you being mean to the registrar again? I go, hold on a second. I'm just asking reasonable questions. And after a reasoned letter to the sheriff, and it was actually to the sheriff CCing the current registrar and
Mm-hmm.
the Attorney General's office again, the current registrar has now announced his resignation. So we're running out of registrars here. Hey, at $170,000 a year, I think we could find somebody who can keep a clean election roll. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
this is
think.
ridiculous. Yeah. This is not a lowly paid county official. Pay rates have gone way up in our county for our county officials. So good. It's a hard job. Got it. 170,000 a year in the current environment. We can definitely get somebody who can keep a clean roll with this guy. I asked a reasoned question. His
Uh-huh.
first response to me in an email was, "It was the previous lady. I had nothing to do with this." I said, "Well, sorry, you're the one encumbering the seat now. And oh, by the way, these are totally different. It was a surety bond claim against your bond, which has
Oh
not been
yeah.
done, not been done before. There's very little legal precedence for this, but this really got the attention of the sheriff and the attorney general, and now Registrar 2 jumped out of the airplane, then checked to see if they had put on a parachute. So they had not. So, hey, just keep it coming, citizens. Now, in book 2, we're also going to focus on English Composition 101 and how to write an effective letter, because I've coached and mentored 800 of the 3,300 counties around the nation. Many wonderful, well-meaning patriots and citizen groups have written letters too.
Mm-hmm.
What I always counsel and coach is, step one is attempt to have either a phone dialogue, a Zoom dialogue, or a face-to-face dialogue. These are complex issues.
Yeah.
Establish a relationship. Now, right there, right off the bat. Now, being a trained intelligence professional, I understand how to do these things. The problem is, a lot of times people say, after I establish a dialogue, that means we're friends and we're working together. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. You are not friends. You're not enemies, but you're not friends.
Yeah.
Okay, American citizen and patriot, you own this government at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level. This is your government. They work for you.
Yes.
Don't be mean. Don't be nasty. Be professional. Now, step two is after you've essentially established a dialogue, which means you are in a dialogue with somebody that you are holding accountable. Because a lot of people, they become controlled opposition. They say, hey, I'm working with the person. No, you are never working. You are holding them accountable. Step
Yes.
two is a letter. Now, patriots, we need to work on our English composition skills because, frankly, I've read a lot of these letters. I know people mean well, but we need to learn the art of English composition and also professional business letter writing, because frankly, a lot of these letters suck. Okay, and
Yeah.
they're very counterproductive because you write a reasoned letter and then you close it with, and I know you're a pedophile and running a pedophile ring. Okay, that's a separate topic. That's very evil and bad, but that's a separate topic. Let's not do things like that. I've seen that multiple times. Okay,
Yeah, it's certainly not
let's
going to put you in the good graces of the people you're trying to win over. But
yeah,
you're exactly right. It is difficult though for some people to strike that balance of both being cordial with these elected or appointed officials that you just want them to do their job. You just want them to be fair and enforce the current law. But it's striking that balance of being cordial but also being forceful enough that things actually happen. But like you said, you're not there to cover for them. You're not there to make excuses when other people start asking questions. You just put it back in their court because at the end of the day, they're the person responsible for the changes or for enforcing the law as it's written.
absolutely. You're holding them accountable, and that does not mean being vicious or nasty. It
Mhm.
means you have a dialogue to point out their sworn duties and hold them accountable. Don't bring in tangential topics. Don't make wild accusations. And I've seen some wild accusations that if I was, hey, I would always try to carve out 15 minutes for anybody who called me, got my unclassified number at the Pentagon. I would
Sure.
always try to, as long as I assessed they were not a foreign intelligence threat, if they just wanted to talk about something that was just my personal opinion versus privileged insight or classified information, I would
Sure.
always try to give them my observations on the processes of government. Okay, I would do my best. But if I received some of these letters as an official, I probably would ignore them or not respond to them either. And we had one incident where I'm not going to reveal what happened, but a senior official had asked me to come in. I gave the major portion of the brief. Somebody else was invited to this meeting, and they decided to tape record the meeting and take pictures surreptitiously. And within a day, they had put all this on public media, social media, and were accusing the public official of lying. And it's like, wow, okay, that's just not the way to get things done. Okay,
No.
so that's crazy, and they're lucky they didn't get charged with the crime in that. And I just told them, you and I can't be in the same meeting anymore. This public official allows us to come in and talk about something. That is not the way to proceed. But again, the metric of effectiveness is two registrars down and keep sending them. The next is also, now a lot of people confuse what I do with the Precinct Project. The Precinct Project is wonderful. It is an excellent program. That target and focus is the county GOP. Okay,
Hmm.
that is not what I am doing now. In full disclosure, I have had a number of run-ins with the county GOP. There's two former chiefs of our county GOP. They were the only perfect ones in the room. They're both gone. Okay, so I want a fighter, not to
Yeah.
fight me, but to fight for the GOP. And the current one we have is a very good one and is a fighter. Now, I do hold all of them accountable. You must have a win within 3 cycles, or you're out. But I want delivery. I want delivery and performance.
Yes.
But again, that's a separate topic. And we just have a blessed with a unique situation here. But for most people, I would, if the county GOP is the issue, I think it's Dan Schultz in the Precinct Project. Use that to take over your GOP. I'm talking about the 7 centers of governance, which are a different topic. And that's where people often get this confused as I'm going to hold the registrar accountable and I'm going to be a GOP official at the same time. No, that's you can't be both at the same. If you want to be that, then go to the county GOP. I'm doing this as an independent, civic-minded citizen and as a nonprofit. That's what I do. That's what I do,
Yeah.
and I do not coordinate with the GOP on these matters. So if it's I am concerned with proper governance at the county level and holding county officials responsible. That is my focus, and
Yes.
that's all. That's all I'm doing, and that's all I ask for.
Yeah, and bringing it closer to home like that too, like that's how people can have immediate access. They can create change because it is at the local level with officials they know that are in their community. Whereas with if you're trying to get some big national thing done, you're less likely to actually see tangible results.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody wants to shout at the moon about Maricopa, about Fulton County, in Virginia it's Fairfax,
yeah,
which is right next door. I'm not a Fairfax resident. I don't have legal standing in Fairfax, okay, or Maricopa or Fulton. Everybody, citizens, worry about your own county, secure your county, and the nation will follow. That's it. No,
exactly.
Richard.
Uh-oh, it looks like the deep state might have got Colonel Mills right there. I'm going to try to reconnect with him here, and we are going to cut to a break. But you can find Colonel Mills at andthenationwillfollow.com. You can also pick up his book at all major retailers, Amazon, and I'm told here shortly you're going to be able to pick it up on mystore.com, where you'll be able to use our promo code AC21 to pick up a dozen copies of his book. So you can hand it out to all your family members, and everyone will have a plan to help us take this country back. So we're going to hear from one of our sponsors from Extractgevity. I'm going to reestablish our connection with Colonel Mills, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Extractgevity is an all-natural energy and health drink developed by Brannon House several years ago with a team of experts. Extractgevity supports a healthy heart, strong immunity, skin, hair and nails, cognitive health, and cellular health. This all-natural energy drink is loaded with antioxidants, but don't take our word for it. Do your own research to find the benefits of red wine extract, bilberry extract, grapeseed extract, pine bark extract, and vitamin C. Brannon credits Extractgevity in part for his abundance of energy and good health. Order your 30-day supply now at mystore.com. Be sure to use the promo code on the screen for a generous discount. Extractgevity, your all-natural source for energy and good health. Find it at mystore.com.
Thank you for staying with us. You can find Extractgevity at mystore.com. Please use code AC21 when you check out to help support Live Up to Freedom, all the projects that we have going forward, and to support Mike Lindell and everyone at Frank Speech and Lindell TV. So, Colonel Mills, right before we left, for our technical difficulties, right before the break, you were about to bring up, I believe his name was Richard Haass. Is that correct?
Yeah, Council on Foreign Relations, which often is decried as one of the foundational elements of the globalist and the WEFers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It was started with the best of intentions back, post World War II. It was, and yeah, it's become a cabal of globalist elites. Now, I always divide the other camp into about three groups. One of the groups being you can have a reasoned dialogue with, but they're still wrong and dangerously wrong. Richard Haass is one of those. I've actually had a number of exchanges with him. You can actually have a reasoned call with, or call and emails with him.
Yeah.
And he just resigned from the CFR. But I ask everybody to read his note because essentially he cites his biggest concern is mega. I don't believe he actually said mega, but that's what he's talking about.
Yes.
The elites like to decry this populism. How dare these citizens get involved? That's why we have the Council on Foreign Relations, because only we are the ones who know how to talk about these matters in fake British accents. So this is
Yes.
ridiculous. And Richard essentially was blaming MAGA, and I'm sorry, totally wrong, totally disagree with that. Get out of here. MAGA, America First, is the American citizen retaking control of the entire government spectrum from the local to the national.
Yes.
And so I don't agree with this. See far these groups have become compromised and they're globalist. We need some kind of forum. We need some kind of forum like the UN. But all these groups have become essentially compromised, and they
Yeah.
are encumbered with people who don't care about citizens of countries. They only care about coordinating an internationalist agenda. And
Yes.
most of it, which means that's how we get American jobs sent to China. That's how we get fentanyl across an open, unsecure border. No, America first, secure the border, crush fentanyl, bring American jobs back. We will take care of the citizens. That is our job. That is how a functional nation state, and this is how a functional world system works, is where independent nation states take care of their citizens first. If Mexico was taking care of its citizens first, we would not have a wave of people escaping Mexico. But it's far worse than that now, because Mexicans, it's hard to find a Mexican coming across the Mexican border into America now. It's
Yeah.
now everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
But if Mexico took care of their nation state, we would not have this chaos. So they have failed their own citizens. So citizens of Mexico, retake control of your government, crush the narco war, and have a civil society. And this is the job of all citizens and all leaders in all countries. Establish functional civil society that respects
Yes.
the individual.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right about something else there too, that it is these, you can call them the deep state, the uniparty, but it is these, Council on Foreign Relation types that they see the mega movement or any popular uprising, any voice of the people, as more of their adversary than they do the people that should be their actual adversaries, the Russian leaders, the China, other nations. That I think they see those people as contemporaries. They want to get along with them and get them the things that they want, whereas they see like the American people as like that yappy chihuahua that's just annoying you, that we're getting in the way of their agenda.
Well, it's the same at the county level. Somebody wants to
Yes.
work with the registrar, and then next thing you know, they become controlled opposition. Richard Haas and the CFR are controlled opposition of China and the globalists that Richard Haas and CFR, job one is taking care of Americans. America taking care of Americans. Now, that is job one, non-negotiable. And that means asserting American interests, God forbid. Yes. This is absolutely silly. They're still stuck in, it's 1948, and we got to, create the, Council on Preventing War and all these silly organizations. The UN was not a bad idea to start with. Okay, it has become, and I've had to deal with directly interface with the UN on a number of matters. It needs to be dissolved and started over. Okay,
absolutely.
It's a freak show of dysfunction, and we should not in any way subordinate the rights and interests of the American people to a crazy UN. If you saw what goes on inside the halls of the beautiful mid-century modern building of the UN, now you'd say, we need to burn, just being figurative, we need to burn that place to the ground and start all over. Well, we're not going to burn a beautiful mid-century modern building. We just need to totally gut out the insides and redo it. It's just silly what goes on there. So that's America first. There is nothing wrong. There's nothing. And Richard Haas said, "Oh, the shock of January 6th." It's like, hold on a second here. I am offended by that comment until we know the full breadth and truth of what the FBI was up to and how many operatives. 60 to 70% of the operatives in the Gretchen Whitmer faux kidnapping case were FBI or FBI informants, which is a legal status. And if 60% of them, does that mean 60% of January 6th was FBI? Guys, until we know truth on January 6th and the real insurrection on November 3rd, 2020, no, I utterly reject that
Yeah.
assertion and comment.
Well, when people like this make these comments, and I'm not accusing Richard Haas of making this comment directly, but you've heard it a lot, where they say that it was worse than 9/11. Like, I really think they see it as that way, that they see it as, this is the peasants' uprising and we can't have that. And to them, in their mind, it is something worse than 9/11. It's the country in revolt against their will and their agenda. And to them, they see that as something worse than being attacked by a foreign adversary, a terrorist state, or anything else. That these are the people that are supposed to just listen to our orders and fall in lockstep.
Yeah. And the proper legal process, if somebody on January 6th was not provoked, encouraged, enticed, or entrapped by an FBI or FBI informant and did have a tussle after physically breaking into, that's a different matter. However, what we're seeing is an absolute shameful episode of American history of, 40 to 60 still imprisoned. We don't even know. DOJ has actually never released an accurate number and list of names of who is still on these black sites and being held. This is a shameful operation. Again, if somebody had a tussle, a violent tussle, and they were unprovoked by an FBI or an FBI informant, that's a separate matter and should be looked at. But everything else, this is an FBI setup. This is a deep state setup. We were set up. That was literally as I walked away from the grounds on January 6th. I said, we were set up. That is exactly what I knew.
Well, and as you kind of alluded to there's still people in jail for this that have not had a trial or have not had legal proceedings moving forward. We have political prisoners here right now. And that is exactly what it is at the end of the day. And then you also have, it's the tactic of, more and more the DOJ, our FBI, the process is the punishment. We've seen they're targeting pro-life groups right now, but even a lot of these J6 defendants, we had, when we had Derek on a little while back, that was kind of what they did, is they ran him out of money. They made it to where he just couldn't fight anymore. He'd gone through all his savings, remortgaged his house. And then eventually Derek Evans had to take the plea deal they were offering because there was just not another option. And it was better to take the 90 days in jail than potentially several years, because they kept saying they had these felonies that they're holding over his head.
Yeah. This is a shameful episode. And I pray and I hope and I'm confident that there will be a day of reckoning and a day of deliverance for all these people and restitution for these matters. This is the greatest incarceration of Americans since Japanese Americans of the Second World War, which we all look back on and realize that was shameful and wrong. And so we need to, there will be a day of reckoning on these matters, and we need full truth. We need full disclosure. Just what was the FBI up to?
Yeah. So where can our audience find you? What's the best place to find you?
Okay. Yeah. On Getter and Truth, Colonel Rhett John, Getter and Truth, Colonel Rhett John, and thenationwillfollow.com. That's our primary site. Yes, you'll find it on Amazon, but we've tried to, we want to try to create a parallel, and, we want to be big box and big tech as much as possible. So we've set it up on thenationwillfollow.com, and it's now the War Room site. War Room Edition, but there's also other wonderful people who are endorsing it. They'll have a suffix on there, such as CD Media. So you'll have /CD Media. You'll have /Rob Manis, /Zelenko Report, and others. But it's also going to be on the My Store. It should be on the My Store, hopefully next week.
Then they can get your book and use our promo code AC21 for a nice discount. Colonel Mills, again, I want to thank you for joining us here today. And we'll have your website, The Nation Will Follow, included, a link in the video description. And again, to our audience, I want to remind you to please go to Annie's Facebook page, look for that pinned message for how you can help the people of Iran communicate. And if you're able to, please help us out. Again, if there's questions, you can always message us. So until next time, Annie will be back tomorrow. Until next time, don't forget to live up to freedom. Thank you again.
You're watching Lindell TV.